You've completely blown my theory about the last two popes. What I came to the conclusion of some time ago, it was considered that it was going to be the end of the world.
I know, they thought that. But
then they thought it was going to be the end of the Catholic Church.
That's right.
But my theory is completely different, and in view of various thoughts, and I think in view of your recent book, my theory was that perhaps the papacy would change back to what it was, Bishop of Rome and first among equals.
Well, I'll tell you, it's of course we're dealing now with the imponderable, Joan, you realize. But my feeling is roughly the same, except that I add in what Our Lady said at Garabandal, in which I believe, by the way, in that vision, that appearance she made in Spain, in Garabandal, the town of Garabandal, which is a part of, it's near Santander in Spain, in which she said that the present Holy Father, the present Pope, is the last Pope of these Catholic times. Not the last Pope of all time.
No.
But the implication is that these Catholic times are coming to an end.
Yes.
And Catholic times meant a period of time, roughly since the year 400 AD, 325 to be exact, but 400 AD, when Catholicism grew to be very important and integral to Western civilization. In fact, it created a Western civilization. That period is coming to an end because this civilization is no longer Christian, and the church itself is being marginalized and sent into a new form of the catacombs. Now, the Pope was always first among equals, but he always had that little extra thing called the Petrine privilege. And that I think is going to stay.
Yes.
But a modified form of papal power is going to come through because of the fact that the political power, the socio-political power of the papacy is going to be diminished even further. And actually, don't you and I know, today it's a liability to be a Catholic.
Absolutely, yes. Well, of course, that would be a help with joining, having friends with the Orthodox.
It would, of course.
That's one difference.
It would, of course. Although that's a long way away to judge by the Orthodox. They don't want to hear or tell of it. Bartholomew of the Patriarch of Constantinople and Alexei of Moscow couldn't be more contemptuous. But the present Pope is almost groveling with them in the good sense of the word. But they sort of walk by him. They sort of say, "Oh no, you've got to change everything. We don't hear about the papacy." It's quite a distance away, unless keeping our eyes in the skies, we see the sign, and there's the Queen of Heaven comes. It's at that stage, at the age of 81 and my age of 76, we shouldn't really care about it, John, because I think that it may be after our time, darling. We'd be playing harps, looking down. I hope.
I wanted to ask you. I also believe in Garabandal.
Yes, ma'am.
And
so do I.
The warning and the miracle.
Yes.
The warning. I study about it, but I cannot quite figure out what it really is going to be.
Well, nobody can, but it's this. It's not a warning, really.
No.
There's no English word for it, but it's putting on notice. You know when you say, "I'll put you on notice that your rent will have to be paid by Monday" or something. To put somebody on notice. That's what it means by the warning. It's avertimiento in Spanish and Italian. To avert, to alert, to put on notice. And it's a putting on notice that God exists. And the promise is that when that sign appears, it will be visible to every human being existing at that moment on this globe, and that everybody will know their relationship to God. It doesn't mean they're going to believe in it. It doesn't mean that they're going to be justified, that they will go to heaven if they die. No, it just means they will know exactly where they stand in their conscience.
So in other words, not to worry, you'll know it when you see it.
That's right.
The miracle. I would like to ask, could the miracle...
Miracle is something else. That's going to be a permanent sign.
Okay. It wouldn't be the rapture, would it?
No.
You don't think that?
The rapture is something totally different.
And Fatima Lucia has even said that communism will eventually take over the whole world. It will be all over the whole world.
Well, no, she didn't say that. What she said was the errors of Marxism. The errors.
And she talked about an annihilation of nations.
Well, unfortunately, but truly, that is also predicted in the third secret of Fatima.
Father, are we in this country making those errors now?
No, we're not. we're indulging in some of them. The main error was sheer materialism. The denial of the supernatural, denial of heaven, denial of sin, denial of evil, and the just living for this world. That was the main error. There also was the social error of Marxism, and we're not committing that yet anyway.